Hi, this is Christy from the Self Rejuvenation Center. I wanted to talk to you about my yoga practice and where I am now within my own practice. As I was contemplating what I was going to say, I realized that in order for that to make sense, I really needed to talk about where I have been. My mom passed away from lung cancer during the last year of her life. I lived in Atlanta, Georgia. I grew up in Utah, and I would spend a lot of time with my family during my mom's last year and helping to take care of her. And there was this one weekend that I was just really struggling with everything that was going on and just needed some downtime to myself. Atlanta was such a long flight, I decided to visit my friends in Portland, Oregon. It was just a quick, easy flight to be able to get away for the weekend. While I was visiting them, they told me about Bikram yoga and asked if I would like to take a class with them. I'm like, well, sure, of course. It would be fun to try something new. I will never forget that day. As I was taking class, I was marveled by all the bodies and the way that they were moving themselves. It's just, I was fascinated and instantly just intrigued in how what I needed to do to be able to move in that way. As I left the class, I walked outside of the building and just had this moment by myself, and I looked up at the sky and realized I couldn't remember the last time I had had a few moments, let alone 90 minutes, where I had thought of absolutely nothing but what was in front of me, what was unfolding right in front of me, how I was moving my body, how I was feeling. I had been completely consumed with what was happening at that moment. I was hooked immediately. When I made my way back to Atlanta, I found a studio and took a class every day that I was able to go. I ended up quitting my job, going to training with Bikram in fall of 2002, moved to Portland, Oregon, and now own the studio where I took my very first yoga class from. I use yoga as an escape mechanism. I practiced every day that I was able to practice. For my personality, it was just the only way I knew to get out of my head, to just have some peace. What I didn't realize, but now I see now, is just how tight, how rigid, how forced I move my body. And it's taken a long time to be able to now see that and realize that there's a much better, more efficient, kind way to move the body. If you've been following these videos, you may have listened to the one where I talked about my getting diagnosed with Graves' disease, which happened shortly after I bought the studio. Interestingly, as I was recovering from the Graves' disease, I started noticing my equilibrium was really off, my balance. I had no balance. And my hearing was really becoming an issue. So if you're interested, stay tuned and I will talk to you about the next evolution of my medical history.